She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Word of Mom Radio here on the Word of Mom Media Network. I'm your host, Dori DeCarlo, and you know we are here week after week, show after show, breaking those myths that mompreneurs and businesswomen, especially those of us building our businesses from home, that we're just dabbling in between bake sales and getting our nails done. We're not. We are smart, we are savvy, and we are sharing the wisdom of women in business and in life. And I'm excited about bringing two women in to our business spotlight. Shana and Vanessa are best friends, business partners, and master financial coaches who love talking about the B word. They help women who make good money but have nothing to show for it set up automatic budget systems that fit their real life and their big dreams so they can be bougie on a budget. Shana and Vanessa are moms and wives just like us, and they are on a mission to make budgeting doable and uncomplicated for women with full plates and big dreams. They don't do cookie cutter budgets, but instead offer judgment-free coaching and tailored plans that help you and your goals, keeping them front and center. So these budget besties are here to share some great nuggets. So with all that being said, ladies, welcome to Word of Mom Radio.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here.
We are excited to talk about the B word.
I love the B word. So how did you two decide? Take us on that journey that created Budget Besties.
Okay. Well, how much time do we have, Dori? No, I'm just kidding. We know how much time we have, but
so when we first started our business back in 2020, smack dab in the pandemic, we started the first way we started to kind of get together was teaching Financial Peace University, which maybe you've heard Dave Ramsey's FPU course. So we started teaching that. And, just to kind of get our feet wet and understand the ins and outs of coaching. And when we started doing that, we realized that budgeting was kind of an expectation. Like people, the first day of the course, he says, make a budget and then come back and you move on to the next subject. And we were like, well, hold on. We have to actually make a budget. And so when we had our people do that, we would ask them questions about it, and they did not know how to properly make a budget. And that's when we realized the expectation was that they already knew how, they've been taught how, and this is something that apparently they've been doing for a while. And so we realized that we really needed to hone in on that and help them because they had no idea how to create a proper budget.
Yeah, so we were going to be financial coaches, which we were teaching people how to get out of debt, how much to save, how to, things like that, how to talk to your spouse and not fight about money, all those kind of things. But it really ended up being what people needed the most help with was literally learning how to budget because nobody taught them how. No one ever taught them how to budget. And then like Vanessa said, you're in adulthood, your financial situation continues to grow, hopefully, and get a little more complex, but you still were never taught how to budget. And so, as your, more money, more problems is a saying, but as your money grows, you didn't learn anything to how to manage it. And so that's where we decided, let's really just focus on this. There's people out there that can teach you how to invest, that can teach you all of that kind of stuff. We just want to show people how to budget. And the more we did it, the more we realized we wanted to make it more simple. We wanted, there's a lot of shame and judgment around this whole topic of money. We wanted to try to make it as fun and lighthearted as possible as it can be. That's where we come up with Bougie on a Budget. We realized people did not want to live on beans and rice.
Yeah.
They did not want to, have to give up their whole life in order to get on a budget. And so that's kind of where we landed.
Well, I think the expectation is when you get on a budget, it's the word no. You can't do this. You can't do that. You have to cut this out. You have to cut that out. And then also, when you get on a budget, you're also going to get out of debt, obviously, because that's why you get on a budget is to get out of debt. But you can't do anything else when you do that, right? And so what we wanted to do and wanted to prove was that we have a completely different way that we talk about money. And then we wanted to frame making a budget. And we wanted to tell you, you can have date night and go and also pay off debt. You can save for that wonderful vacation that you and your family want to go on and also pay off debt. So we wanted to tell you in that whole concept of being bougie on a budget, you can do a lot more things and some fun things on your budget and also pay off debt.
Do most people have a problem overspending, Or is it really just being disorganized and
Yeah.
not really understanding where your money's going?
Well, if you listen to the women that listen to you, what they will say about themselves, I'm sure you find this in all kinds of areas of life, but they will say mean things about themselves.
Mhm.
I'm not good at math. I'm bad with money. I'm overspending all the
Mhm.
time. And what we actually find is that it's not, like you said, it's not an overspending problem. It's a disorganization problem. When you think about how simple things were a generation ago when it comes to money, and now how many more bills you have, how many more comings and goings of income and ways that they can take your money out of your account. There's so much more complication now. So we want to make it easier to be organized. That's kind of where we come in. We
Mhm.
want you to have a simple budget, which we can talk about. Very simple, very, very simple. And then we like to help you separate your money into different accounts using your bank. Because your bank has lots of tools that you can use to make budgeting, managing your money,
Yeah.
seeing your money so much easier and automatic and clear, right? And so we kind of say, if you can take that old idea of a cash envelope
Mhm.
system and we try to make it modern so that it is organized better.
Well, and this idea of having it separate allows you to not have to track every expense. And so that's what we also saw was, well, I obviously have to track everything I do throughout the month. And we're like, well, I don't do that. We haven't done that. And that is not what budgeting is, but that is the expectation because there's a lot of budgeting apps and there's a lot of apps that we looked up that we were going to try to use as our own before we created our own. But they're basically all tracking apps. And so this idea of separating your money doesn't require you to do that, which is also really freeing with our clients.
So how do you
Mm,
set this up? Walk me through. I'm coming to you. Here you go.
yeah.
What do we do?
Well, we say, Dory, that you can make your bank be your personal assistant. And so we have a very simple budget. We try to make it as simple and match like what you do with your hands with
Mhm.
the categories on our budget. And then what we want to do is, for example, you have a separate checking account for your bills. You have a separate checking account for spending. You have separate savings accounts on purpose rather than this one conglomerate savings account that nobody knows what's really for, but I'm technically saving money, but then I borrow it. So we just want you to separate it all. And all of those
Mhm.
separate accounts will be like the cash envelope sort of digital version
Yeah.
where you have a different account for each one, each category, which like Vanessa said, means you don't have to track. You're just keeping up with
Mhm.
that mini budget in each account.
Yeah, and the last thing that we would have you do is automate. So Shana said simplify, which is creating that very simple 5 column budget that we designed, and then it's separate everything right from your spending to your savings. And then the last thing we want you to do is, like Shana said, use your bank app as your personal assistant and automate everything. Set it up automatically because we know that you're busy. We're busy. Nobody has time to go in there and manually separate and organize and manually transfer anything. So what we want you to do is make this as less complicated and as less the least amount of friction as possible, and set everything up with automatic transfers.
I'm laughing inside because my daughter did this for herself now. Ugh, catches in my throat because she's 33. When she was 20,
Mm-hmm.
she had this was her apartment account, this was her car account, this is her travel, this is school, and she had her me account that she would replenish, and those were the things that she just wanted to do special for her. And now opened up her own business. But it's amazing. She was just somebody naturally that compartmentalized things like that. So she knew that
Well,
she had the accounts to draw from because this was for this and
Mm-hmm.
that was for that, and how to replenish them. I think that that's an awesome way.
Yeah, she's like that 1% that we talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that because she's young, you can start to use some of these tools, but a lot of people don't know that your bank has these tools. A lot of people don't realize that you can have more than one bank account, more than one savings, more than one checking, and then they certainly don't realize that your bank can do the transfers reoccurring automatically. But to me, what I think is, everything is so much more cluttered now than it used to be. Whether it's physical or it's online, it's your bank, it's your money, everything is more cluttered. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're naturally going to want to find a way, which is what she did, to make this organized and to make it make sense because as we said there's so
Mm-hmm.
much more going on with your money now than there was a generation ago that there wasn't a need
Yeah.
necessarily, but now your bank has these tools. Why not? It's like, why wouldn't I not use the tools on my phone? Like they're all there, I'm going to use them. The
Mm-hmm.
same for your bank there, but people are just kind of stuck in these old ways. Like, let me use this. Listen, we had somebody comment on our Facebook recently that they make their children do a check register. And I was like, please don't do that. Burn the check register. We don't need the check register anymore. We don't need it anymore. We're in 2025. It's okay. Or 2026.
Well, and I think that just goes back to we don't just talk about using a budget. That's words and numbers on paper. Okay. Anyone can make a budget, but then what do you do with it? So we've actually come up with just an entire budget system, which is what we think you need. You don't need another budget. There's plenty out there that you can go fill out. That's not working for you. What you need is a budget system, which is what we talk about, which is to simplify, to separate, and automate. That is what's going to help you be successful and going to properly help you manage your money throughout the month.
It's interesting to me to think of it as a system. So step by step, how do you set this up?
Right. So the first thing to do, like Vanessa said, words and numbers on paper. Like we said, we started coaching one-on-one people, right? Teaching them how to budget. So we went out and looked for a budget that we could use with our clients. And they were all awful, Dori. They were
tracking budgets.
They were all ugly. I am saying they were ugly. They were ugly. They had boy words like fixed and variable. And like nobody needs to use those words. They're just somebody come up with them one time. So we said, hey, personal, and we do business too, but personal, what does your money actually do? What do you need to do each month with your money? Well, you have your income, you have money that you get paid, yay, that's fun. Then you have your debts, which we do like to list separately. You have bills, everybody knows what a bill is. What is an expense? Nobody really knows what an expense is. It sounds like a good word, but
That's a gray area.
Yeah, it's a gray area. We know what bills are. Like that's anything with a due date, right? And then we actually separate your budget out to what you spend your money on and the things that you need to save your money. And that really, those two are the game changers. There's no needs and wants, 50, 30, 20, like some cookie cutter system. When I'm spending my money, that's very specific. Groceries, gas, restaurants, her me account, right? When I'm saving my money, it's very specific. That apartment account, maybe it's a new car, whatever those are all very specific tasks or things that we're doing with our money. And we wanted our budget to reflect what we actually do with our hands. And that's the step one, is to see what all of those things are.
Interesting to me. It really is, because as you said, with all of the systems that are out there, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. It really doesn't. How come people naturally make those budgets and they fail?
Well, I think it's one of those things like we equate it to people when they try to lose weight, right? So when they try to lose weight or get healthy, let me say they're like, I have to count my macros and I have to walk and I have to go to the gym and I have to watch this and I have to drink water and there's all these things that they're quote unquote, they have to do in order to be successful. And we've had people come to us when we try to make their budget and they're like, but I did all of this. So clearly I'm doing a good job. And it was just all nonsense stuff that they were told that they should do or they have to do in order to be successful with their money. And when we simplify it and we tell them, no, this is really all you have to focus on. Oh, and by the way, we can automate this so it's 90% hands off. Then it's like, oh, but I think in our mind, in order for us to be successful, we think that it has to be more complicated, but it's not.
And I will say the question is a little stacked because we did a national research study and we would have asked the same question. Why do most budgets fail? The truth is most people don't have a budget. Like that's actually what we found. It's not like people are trying to budget and failing. They're just not budgeting. They're just, and we get it. Like, again, you're busy. There's a lot going on. You have 1,000 transactions in one account. You're trying to be like, okay, I paid the mortgage, but I also have to go grocery shopping, but did the utilities bill go through? And also I got the property taxes, like whatever. It's so much going on. And that like makes people avoid it. They avoid it. And so that's why we're saying if we can separate it, keep all your bills over here. They're always funded. You've always got money for them. That's good. And then I separate it. I have a separate account for my gas and groceries, or I have a separate account for my restaurants. I just have money that goes in there. Like Vanessa said, it's automated. And every 2 weeks or so, I get it replenished. And I just have to like think about that. Hey, when I'm at the restaurant, I just can spend this much money. I already have it. It's already decided. I know if I have this money and everything else that I've planned in my budget, including, like your daughter's apartment fund, everything else is covered. And I just have to stick to this budget. And that's all I have to do. That takes down the decision fatigue. That takes down any like stress or any like math in public things that I have to do. And if I can do that, then I actually will stick to the budget. And we find people will naturally spend less because they know what their money is doing. They know that it's aligned to their goals.
When you break it up into those separate categories like that, like the gas and groceries and the me fund and the restaurant, it makes little mini budgets for each of those categories. And that's all you have to do is worry about the amount of money that's in that account. You're not going to overdraft because it's an account, right? You're using a debit card versus a checking account. So it holds you accountable.
Or
You have
versus a credit card.
Oh, I'm sorry, versus a credit card. Yeah. But it holds you accountable and you have some type of guardrails. I mean, you go ask any wealthy person how they got there. They're not going to say, oh, it happened on accident. I'm not really sure. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure what I did. No, it was strategically planned. And so we have to have, and we're not telling you to put $100 in, your me fund a month. No, if your budget allows you to have $500 for you and your spouse each month to go have fun on, do that. But every single one of our budgets is very specific to our clients based on what their budget allows because we don't do cookie cutter. Okay. We do what can you do? What brings you joy? What are you excited about? And then also like the spending category is over here. And then what are you saving for? What are those big goals and things that you want to achieve that you can be saving ahead of time for in your budget?
Well, I was just gonna, I was gonna add on, if a budget does fail, what we hear is it's unexpected expenses. But we can plan for that. So when we want you to budget, a lot of people are budgeting, if they are, which they're not, we found, but if they are, they're budgeting by paycheck. We want them to budget looking at what their money can do in a month. But when we are also planning that month, we're also seeing what their money needs to do in a year. Because a lot of these quote unquote unexpected expenses are expected. Christmas every year, your anniversary every year, your property taxes, the tuition for college, like all of those things are expected. Your oil changes, pet annual visits. They're coming, but like maybe you kind of forgot. But we can look at those and we can take a, $1,000 tires that you have to get. We can take that and break it down into a smaller amount that we can budget for each month. So it's not so shocking in the month. And those shocking, unexpected moments are what make people feel like they're failing at budgeting. So we try to plan for all of those things in our budget system as well.
Yeah, imagine taking like a half hour to an hour max and taking a bird's eye view and say, okay, what is 2026 going to cost me? What are the big things that I'm going to spend on this month that are not monthly, that are random, like auto insurance, HOA dues, tires, like all that random stuff, my kids' travel, sports, all that. And then you say, okay, if this is what it's going to cost me, I'm going to break it down monthly and say, if this is what I need for the year, I'm going to divide it by 12 and put it in my budget a month. Then you're always going to have the money to be able to fund everything that you want to do this year. And that is our goal for you.
On that note, let's take a quick break, say thank you to our supporters, excuse me, and we'll be back here in just a moment on Word of Mom Radio. She is brave, she is bold, she is you, and we want to tell your story. Are you ready to share your journey with us on Word of Mom Radio? Go to wordofmomradio.com and register as a guest. We want to tell your story because when you win, we all win.
In 2017, Unsilenced Voices was formed to help survivors of domestic abuse and gender-based violence worldwide. The organization currently serves Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Ghana, and the USA. In 2022, Unsilenced Voices gifted over $33,000 to survivors in the USA. And in Sierra Leone, there are over 26 young girls who have been rescued from sex trafficking and domestic abuse and now going through vocational training school in order to better their lives. We need your help. Donations are critical in order for us to continue our work. We also need volunteers to help with research and development. Please visit unsilencedvoices.org for more information.
And we're back here on Word of Mom Radio. We are talking with budget besties, Shana and Vanessa. I really, it's amazing because I like the idea of planning for the unexpected. I remember when my son first got his first car was an Audi. And a friend of ours said to him, do yourself a favor and start throwing $150 every month in that car account, because when something happens to that Audi, it's not going to be cheap.
You had a good friend.
Yes. And I was thinking when you said that, that's what my husband would have said too. Like there are cars that are cheap to repair and there are cars that are not. But you guys are doing well. Like everybody just go hang out with Dori for all the fight. Like her daughter can help you. The friends, like
that was not for me.
I know, but it's such great advice.
Not for me.
It's such great advice.
Yeah.
And so there are degrees to this when we're talking about planning for quote unquote unexpected. like you said, putting some money into an emergency fund for something that you don't know versus I know we're going to need tires every 2 years or how, I mean, who knows?
Right.
That's different for every person. Or we know that the annual car registration or property taxes. Like we know what those things are. I can plan for those and I don't have to be so shocked in the moment and it doesn't have to derail my budget. But then I can also, like you said, I know this car is getting a little some kind of way. I might start putting a little extra money in there for repairs because I know it's getting older or whatever. Those are all things that you can plan for and it really does give you a lot more peace of mind and it does, like we said, it doesn't derail your budget, which makes you want to give up.
How do couples get on the same page with this, especially when you've got kids and not
Mhm.
have that now power struggle going on?
Yeah. So, you want to be a team. So this is where when you are married, and even if you have an accountability partner or whatever that looks like for you, you really need to be on the same team and talk about your finances. A lot of times it's not talked about. Maybe there's one spouse that's the financial guru, right? They're the nerd in the relationship. And so they're the ones doing the budget, taking care of everything, and just maybe telling the other person what's going on. That ends up being a child parent relationship in the long run. That's not healthy, right? So we really want both of them to come together at least once a month, talk about their goals, talk about what their money is doing, and make decisions together. That one person can still be the nerd and they can handle the finances, but the other person really needs to come in and give their input.
I agree with you on that. How do you set up just that where the clear lanes that get everything going, especially when you're married? When you're by
Mhm.
yourself, it's a lot easier to be in control. Again, I mean, I understand going the back and forth, but it is really setting up those lanes.
Well, it depends on what you mean by lanes. So I really and truly what Vanessa said is what we believe. We want you guys to start. We call it dream again. Usually what happens in a marriage is, life has come very fast and very busily and very furious, right? And we want you to go back to when you were dreaming about what could be, what we want. Maybe you're thinking about the kids are going to graduate. What are we going to do after that with our lives? I just heard that my friends are going to go live in Italy 6 months out of the year, whatever. You need to start from a dream perspective so that you have a reason to want to do this conversation, right?
Mhm.
And then also just understanding another conversation would be interesting to have is each person comes into the relationship with their own money baggage, regardless,
Yeah.
of what your background is. Sometimes we have people that didn't have a lot of money and so they spend a lot, or we have people that had a lot of money and they spend a lot or whatever. It's just it is great to have that conversation and see where you're both coming from. But what we want is for you to put it all on one page together and make decisions together. There's not lanes. If you each have your own spending accounts, right? Go crazy over there. You
Have
each
a good time.
no judgment. You have your own spending accounts. We're watching and monitoring the bills because that's both of us.
It's
Like
really
it's
important.
just a separate account and there's no tension there,
Mhm.
right? And then you do want to make decisions. I love Vanessa. Hopefully she'll give her example about, if we're saving for certain things, how do we decide who gets what or whatever? And so you want to come up with those savings buckets, but you have that fun example about your home account that you guys do, which is a great example.
Yeah, so my husband and I have, we love to fix up the house and do different things, but we have a wants and a needs. So we each get our wants and a needs, and then we just kind of go back and forth on different things that we want. But, I think it's just about, like Shana said, you want to make sure that when you're making these decisions that you're figuring out, are these matching what we want in life? Like, are we excited about where our money is taking us, right? And so as long as you're doing that, and you mentioned about the kids, how do you bring in the kids on the conversation? That's really important as well, because if you do have kids, how about you take some of the decisions off of your shoulders and put them on your kids? Meaning, put a line item in your budget that says kids, or it has their names individually, and say, hey, you get $50 this month to spend. That's your budget. You get to decide how you want to spend that. So whether it's friends' presents for their birthdays, it's a skating party, it's a mall trip, or whatever that looks like, it's movies. You no longer have to decide how their money gets spent that month, right? So we want you to have these conversations, very healthy conversations, not with your spouse and with your kids. And you never want to say things like, we can't, or we have no money, we can't afford this. It's all like, this is what we've decided to do together because this is what's going to help us reach our goals.
So how can you be bougie on a budget in real life?
Well, we love this. We've realized, so we've been friends since our boys were 4 and they're 17 now. Our bougie has grown. Okay. We're just going to
It's evolved.
It's evolved. We were not like, I don't even know if what we would have called like suntan lotion is like really expensive. That was really bougie for us when we first started, but the good suntan lotion, now what we know, it means something different for everybody being bougie on a budget. And what we want you to do is, again, get it all on paper and see what is that for you. Is if it's traveling. I had a client, she started with us and she said, look, I'm willing to do this, but I'm not giving up going out to restaurants and I'm not giving up travel. And I was like, okay.
Done.
So we put a restaurant line item in her account, in her budget, and that as well as travel. And she had weddings, her kids were getting married. That was the age that she was in. And we made sure that that was funded healthily, both of them each month. And then everything else went to her other goals, paying off debt or saving, an emergency fund or whatever it is. But you just have to pick what that means to you, and then you put it in the budget.
Yeah, sometimes people will come to us and say, hey, what is the first thing you recommend people cut out of their budget? And we're like, that's not how we operate. We want your budget to be exciting and something that brings you joy. If you have 20 subscriptions, online subscriptions that you're not using, but you also want to take a trip to Europe, that you need to save for, well, something's got to give, right? So you probably need to only bring your budget down to the 1 or 2 subscriptions that you actually use and cut out the things that aren't bringing you joy, that were not being useful, and then fund the thing that you actually want to do. So that's really what it's about. Being bougie in a budget means we want you to fund the things that bring you joy, fund the things that you want in life, and then get rid of the rest.
What a great way to kind of wind down this conversation. As we're wrapping up, ladies, what would you like to leave our audience with, and how may they reach out to you?
Well, we would love to have them join us on our podcast. We have a podcast called Financial Coaching for Women, and we think that would be a great way for them to decide if they think we're crazy or they like what we're saying. I'm not sure about what to leave them with other than, budgeting doesn't have to be restrictive. It can actually give you the permission and freedom to spend and make you feel so much better and clear with your money.
Yeah, we have an awesome on-demand boot camp that they're welcome to watch. If they go to budgetbesties.com/start, they can watch that and just kind of help them have a better understanding of kind of what we do and why we do it and how to implement it in their life.
Which is perfect for them this time of year. Like right now is a great time to get started. And you have your whole year ahead of you. Like you can get it all together, start saving for some of these big fun things that you want to do in your life.
I really am so grateful that you both took the time to come and share today. I love sharing fellow podcasters as well. So I really do. All of Vanessa and Shana's links are going to be live on wordofmomradio.com. I encourage you to reach out to them and start 2026 in place with everything. So ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Dori.
My absolute pleasure. And for all of you tuning in, thanks so much for being here. We're going to close out with our fabulous theme song from Smith Sisters and the Sunday Drivers. So till next time, this is Dori DeCarlo saying go out and create a marvelous you. Bye for now.
She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Sure of herself, yeah, she takes care of biz. Powerful and strong, yeah, she knows who she is. Has integrity, woman strong and true. You know her by name. See, this woman is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Adds value and hope. Has proved to be brave. See, it's never too late. Never time to behave. Reaching for dreams. Doesn't matter the age. Believes in herself. Unleashed from her cage. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. you.